Hey again, YouTube, Sick Guy 187 back again. I had a little bit of a thing. I had a student come in and ask me about actually firearms, and we kind of got on the topic of knives. And so that kind of, it kind of sparked a little idea in my head, bing, of maybe sharing with you guys what I carry into the bush in certain situations, and just showing you what I've currently got as, not necessarily my EDC, because I'm not carrying these into the bush every day, but my current bush knives, kit, whatever you want to think of, and for a couple of different situations. When I'm in the bush, I usually carry, on average, a folding knife. I'll carry a necker knife, neck knife, and I'll carry a belt knife. I'll usually then carry some sort of primary chopping implement like an axe or a machete or a very large chopping knife. It depends on the different situations. So I'll just do a quick little run through of the pocket knife I usually carry, the neck knife I usually carry, the belt knives I might carry two sometimes that I usually carry, why I chose one of them. You'll see the review of it probably right after this, actually. Hopefully you're watching my playlist and you see it next. And I'll share a couple of other things. So let's move on. The pocket knife I usually carry when I'm in the field. I don't always carry something like this. This is the Kershaw, oh my god, 1085 ST. This was an early Christmas present. It's December and I've actually had this for almost a month. It was an early Christmas present from a friend of mine. Dude, this thing is awesome. But instead, when I'm in the field, I carry something like my Opinel here. This is the Opinel number 7, high carbon. This is actually laminated high carbon steel. It's a great little knife to carry. It's safe. It's comfortable. It is freaking sharp. It's high carbon, so I can strike a spark off of it. I tend to go for redundancy when I'm looking at my kit. You know, like this thing, I can, if I want it safe, I just close up the collar, and there's no blade play. The collar will pop off before that knife blade will close up on my fingers. So that is really cool. The high carbon steel, like I said, I can strike a spark off of it with like a quartz or anything with a hardness of 7 or higher. It makes great little feather sticks. It's nice and small, nice and light. It weighs less than 1/2 of an ounce. And it folds up into a neat and tidy little package. The other thing that I love about it is it's got that hard 90 spine that you hear a lot of people clamor about. And if I don't have my carbide striker, or if it's the first thing that I'm looking for, I can use this to strike a nice fat spark off my ferro rod. So that's just my normal bush pocket knife. Opinel number 7, beautiful little knife. I'll do a review of a couple of French knives for you guys later. The necker. I don't have a Becker necker. Sorry, I can't afford to get a $60 or $70 neck knife. This was a little buck skinning with a drop point. I like this little knife. It was 15 bucks. I've owned it for 9.5 years. This was the first knife I bought with my girlfriend on our first real camping trip together. So not only great knife, it's got sentimental value, it was also only about 15 bucks and I bought it at a Walmart in Drumheller. So it's a great little knife. The swept tip lets me process small game. Actually, it'll let me skin large game just fine because you get a great draw in here. It holds an edge really nicely, and the edge that it currently has is disturbingly sharp. I'm not sure if that's because of the knife or the fact that I tend to spend 40 minutes on the water stone just in that little zen spot. But it's a great, nice little neck knife. I usually look for something light, small, something that I can just pop on here and pop it out of its either kydex sheath or its leather sheath, just to get at and to use for those fine situations, traps, processing small game, making feather sticks, making a fire, anything like that. I go for a little small neck knife. Now I actually have 3 of my belt knives to show you. I'll go through them really quick. One of them I've already reviewed. One of them I will review right after this video, and one of them I will do a how-to on how to make the kydex sheath for it. So let's go with the one that I have reviewed. It's the Cold Steel Bowie Bushman, Jim, as I've called it. The reason I chose this as this is pretty much the primary belt knife. The other two, the Mora that you'll see, is my tertiary belt knife, or the knife that I will carry with this one. And the you'll see the Opinel knife that I have after that is the my primary knife after that. But yeah, anyways, Cold Steel Bowie Bushman. I chose this not only because it's nice and big, I can actually process game, I can process lumber with it. I keep it very sharp, so I can actually do the fine work, I can do the traps, I can do anything that I need with it. It has that ability to become a spear in a situation that I need that. It has the added bonus of having my fire kit on the inside. There's also an emergency med kit, tiny emergency med kit as part of this, and the float. You know, it's also great that it's sheath. You'll note that the reason I chose it as primary is it's got a lot of redundancy built in. The sheath fits on the belt just fine. I can do a drop carry using a keyhole, this little keyhole on the bottom, and actually just attach the proper carry to it, and it will swing. But the sheath itself also lets me carry a ferro rod. I've drilled out the bottom of this because the ferro rod that it came with was tiny. And I started carrying a much bigger ferro rod in it. And then of course I lash it in place with a little bit of shock cord. Water, need water. You know, even this thing, when I'm going in the field, I look for a nice metal, aluminum or solid steel construction, tin, whatever, stainless steel in this case, because I can boil water in this if I need to. Or the metal canteen kits, the army style canteen kits. Those also work really well because you can boil water in the cup. And actually, in most cases, it'll come with a little fire stand that you can boil the water with. Let's go with, this is my secondary belt knife. The Mora Light My Fire. This is actually my girlfriend's primary belt knife now. Mora Light My Fire. Plastic sheath, belt clip, overmolded plastic. The reason that I bought this for her, one, she saw it and went, oh, I want it. But it's a great little knife. This one's stainless steel. You can still get them in high carbon. It's got a 25-degree angle on the blade, and it's got a secondary angle of 20 degrees underneath the tip, so you can process game. You can do the very fine work that you need to. Feather sticks. You can baton with it, but I wouldn't baton anything over 3 inches. 2 inches, just because they've removed so much steel from here. But it's a great little knife because it also has the ferro rod inside and hard 90 splines, so you can do that. So, you know, this knife might actually join the Bushman on my belt if I have a need of a secondary knife, or if I think that I want to carry that one as a spear in bear country or something like that. It's Canada, unless I have a rifle or a shotgun, and I'm in bear country, I'm carrying that as a pointy stick. This is actually my third belt knife. This was when my grandpa passed on, when my grandfather died. I got some of his stuff. I got a few of his old hunting knives and his old shotgun. And so this knife languished for a long period of time, sitting on my shelf in memorandum until one day I picked it up and I went, this is a fantastic knife. It might look a little odd to you. This is actually very similar to, you'll see a Condor Hivernal knife or a Hudson's Bay knife. It's a trading knife. It's a Métis trading knife that my grandpa had. It's a 1/4 inch thick steel, and the edge is actually 20 degrees. It is really, really high carbon steel. It does rust fairly easily, but you can get a spark off of it. It's full tang. Wooden handle held on with brass pins. I think actually Grandpa might have redone the handle at some point because it's, well, it's really, really glued in there, but it's also kind of custom looking. But the reason it languished is I didn't have a sheath for it. I'm not the world's greatest leather worker, but I was able to make a Kydex sheath. And if you guys find something like this at a swap meet or a flea market and you're not sure about making a sheath, hey, I'm going going to do a how-to video on how to make a Kydex sheath. This is the very first Kydex sheath I ever made, and I'm actually quite proud of it. It might not look like the coolest thing to you guys, but hey, first time, and it works just great. Holds the knife in really tight, hooks onto my belt. I can hook it on from underneath, and it holds on really well. But this is, when I'm out at the farm, this is actually the knife that I try to keep on my belt, because it's just great. Nice hard tip, nice hard spine, good tempering, holds an edge beautifully. Choppers, well, you guys remember Keenan with his little shot cord. I bring him out if I don't have to walk very far, if I'm not doing, say, like an overnight camp, I'm just doing a day camp, and there's a chance I'm going to have to process large game, deer, moose, elk, anything like that, though this season for almost everyone that I've talked to has been really dry for them, so, but the reason I don't usually carry it is it's 2.5 pounds. It's pretty hard to carry this thing. I have to lash it to my backpack, just because I haven't had a chance to make the Kydex sheath yet. The season happened before I did that. But it's a very big knife. It's the chopping knife that I choose if I'm going to process large game. If I'm going to go through an area and I'm going to have to, say, go through a lot of dogwood or a lot of coniferous forest, well, I might choose a machete or something like that. But the only machete I currently own, I'm going to have to get another one, is the Cold Steel Gladius, and you guys might have noticed in the video, I think it was this guy's review, it's pretty damn dangerous swinging that thing around because it's double-edged. But I'll look for, when I'm going for a chopper, I'll grab the bush hog here, and I'll look for something with a nice forward swept edge. I'll look for something where all the weight is just a little bit in front of the sweep of the blade, and the knife does all the work for me. I might not necessarily use its sheath, because if you guys remember, it's kind of awkward to carry, but I'll keep it in my bag or something like that. Or if I'm going to a place where I know I'm going to be chopping up dead tree, or I've got to process a large area of smallish lumber to make my camp, or I'm going to make a woven wall shelter, like wattle and daub kind of style, I'll bring something like this, because I can use it to chop, but it also has the added ability, I can take the axe head off, and this axe in particular is great, because this works beautifully as like an ulu knife. I can chop herbs with it, I can go through meat with it, if I need to chop up potatoes, carrots, make roughing it stew, if I need to go through some hardtack, it's a great little knife. And I've actually modified this, you guys. I will upload the video for this next week, because I did do some modifications for it. I'm also not afraid to buy garbage knives and just scab stuff from it. I bought this, and you can hear it rattle already. This is a garbage knife that I picked up, and it's one of those hollow handle Rambo style knives. Sorry guys. The sheath is garbage. It comes with a whetstone that actually makes this duller. It rattles like hell in there. You can't baton with it or anything like that. But I got about 13 bucks worth of stuff out of it. Some of it's in another kit. But, like a little emergency first aid kit, some storm matches, some fishing line, fishing lures, lead sinkers. I've actually got the Morse code sticker still on here because my Morse code is not necessarily the best. A little fish gig or harpoon. I'm not particularly good at making fish spears myself, so I'll bring this along just in case. I scabbed from it. It was $13. I scabbed $13 worth of stuff from it. Even this little whistle. It's a garbage knife, but the stuff that came with it, I'm going to use in the rest of my kit, my fire kit, my fishing kit, anything like that. I'm not really, selling a lot of stuff to you guys right now. I'm just kind of giving you my ideas. What do you guys use for your primary neck knife? What's your favorite belt knife? When you're going chopping, do you use an axe, do you use a machete, do you use a large chopper? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you guys give me a great idea down below, or I have a knife that you've mentioned and I haven't reviewed it, cool. I'll do my best to review it for you, and I will thank you for it. Until next time, guys, I'm Stick Guy 187. Stay sharp.